That's the DA who has charged the officers, both officers involved in the Wendy's parking lot shooting, one of them with felony murder, facing the potential of the death penalty. 13th juror weighing in tonight. Let's begin with our comment of the day, which comes to us from Jackie, who writes, I think they feel they must go heavy on charges in hopes of deterring massive riots. He has to be locked up for his protection, as the public has taken on the role of the judge and the jury. David Schnipper, was this a move to prevent unrest in the streets of Atlanta?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's, to me, the million-dollar question is was he a threat to those around him and or the officers? Look, I'm gonna side with my colleagues here. I don't like the look of the deceased, unfortunate deceased. He's running away. Now, I don't believe that you should resist arrest. Okay, nothing will come good of that. And I am not an African American, so I can somehow obviously see the disconnect with the police. If I'm an African American, that I don't trust anything that's going on. So I guess in a way I don't blame him for running, right? But the fact that Paul Howard said that he kicked him, no. I mean, I think that especially in the climate we're in, that charges are not were expected. I would have liked to see the GBI finish their investigation, and as Eklund said, look, Paul Howard is, he's hanging from a cliff to try to continue to be the DA, and that was a dog and pony show today. If you're from Atlanta, you get that. It is what it is, but we'll see what happens. But it's really unfortunate and sad that 27-year-old who has 4 children is now not with us anymore.
Lisa writes tonight, Officer Rolfe shot a man in the back and kicked a man when he's already down. That kind of behavior is why he's facing felony murder. With another officer going against that kind of behavior, plus his work history, really, even if he does bring the best lawyer America has to offer, the government already has enough proof to convict, and he's done. Byron Browne, is this an easy case for prosecutors?
Not easy, not easy. From our perspective, I think from the general public's perspective, I get it why they think it's easy, but nothing is ever easy. Especially with the charges, they're going to obviously, and they've charged him with, I think it's 11 different charges. So they're definitely throwing the book at him. But are we going to see all of those charges pan out in court? Typically, we don't. Typically, we see the prosecution narrow down the charges, pick the charges that they think have the biggest rate of success, and then they go after those charges. Now, with the climate the way it is, that might be a decision the prosecutor doesn't want to make because it'll draw a lot of attention from the general public that believe that, hey, he should face the worst charges he can, which he should. The problem is when you start wrapping everything in the rules of evidence and the rules of civil procedure, it becomes a lot harder to get everything. So that's why we see the charges narrow. It doesn't mean that the prosecution is taking their foot off of his neck, so to speak. It's just the way things operate when you go to trial.
Here's Mary tonight. I believe they were pressured and feared repercussions if they didn't press charges against the officers. Therefore, now, if you're stopped by the police, you can take their weapon and use it on the officer. That is the message they're sending. Eklund, I heard a sheriff from Augusta, Georgia, concerned about the same thing, that the message that is being sent here is that, okay, now you're being arrested, you can fight, you can take their weapon, and you can run away.
Because if you don't do anything, you're dead anyway. George Floyd did nothing and he was murdered. So at the very least, if you're an African American person, if you're a black person in America right now, these are your options because you're going to get killed. All right. There was no reason for him to get murdered.
Eklund, do you believe that Rashard Brooks, if he didn't do anything and just got handcuffed, that Officer Rolfe was going to murder him anyway, handcuffed?
He has 12 complaints against him. He was already in a shooting that he tried to cover up in 2015. It is foreseeable that, especially adding on the climate and this whole Blue Lives Matter and this nonsense and how they're acting like a gang against the citizens of the United States of America, like this is where we're at right now. So yes, it like at that point in time, he thought he could die. Literally, we have seen George Floyd's murder often, almost every day. So you mean to tell me, so Mr. Brooks has seen the same video, is in the same position, and he can't be that frightened to run away? He's going to try to save his life. So my issue is
Eklund,
that
you know I never like to cut you off, but we're out of time. Eklund Mercy, David Schnipper, Byron Browne, appreciate your time, your insight, your expertise. Thank you so much. That's it for tonight.